Hey. Talk to 'em. History don't sleep. Let's go. They told us hush, now they hear the thunder. Every page they buried, now we bring it under. Hidden in the margins, written in the scars. Built the whole nation, still they lock the doors. Now I'm kicking hinges, breaking every chain. Knowledge is my weapon, truth inside my veins. Buffalo spirit, soldier mentality. Fought for every freedom, still denied humanity. That's fact. Medicine, politics, sports, revolution. Every generation built another institution. Typewriters turned into microphones. Now we write the future with a kingdom of our own. Who built it? We did. Who changed it? We did. Who survived it? We did. Now they wanna rewrite. We live it. We live it. History can't erase our victory. Never kings, queens, royal pedigree. Crown. Every generation changing history. Lift your fist, raise your voice. Freedom ain't an accident, it's a choice. The history. Title 9, open gates. Black girls flying, changing fate. Flojo speed like lightning strikes. Venus arena, changing every mic. Breaking every bracket, every stereotype. Pressure make diamonds, now we shining bright. Dr. Bristow, white coats, black excellence. Leadership, pure intelligence. Randolph March didn't beg, demanded. Power never given, it's commanded. Stonewall nights, fire in the streets. Marsha stood tall, wasn't face to face. Different identities, one counting cause. Justice don't discriminate, neither do these bars. They fear an educated woman, and organized people. Feel united movement, come on, because truth always outlives evil. Africa calling, Caribbean flames. Freedom ain't geography, it's breaking chains. Mozambique rising, colonizers falling. Every freedom fighter still here, I'm calling. Madagascar, South Africa, to Mandela dream. Now the whole world knew. Barefoot runner, Olympic gold. Couldn't chain greatness, couldn't buy that soul. You sang fast, rich, every black champion worth more than gold. WW won World War, still ignored. Came back home, started every war against oppression, against fear, against lies. Now our voices touch the skies. Real dope, they can censor books, but not the people. Hide our names, but not the sequel. Every child, every elder, every mother, every teacher, every freedom preacher, we all the history, not your version. History, tell 'em, build civilizations, change the world, still standing, still demanding, still expanding. Black excellence, black resistance, black persistence. Every single, dingle, 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 dingle. The history ain't behind us, it's inside us, inside us. If they erase one page, we'll write 10 more. If they close one door, we'll build 10 more. Hey, this ain't just remembrance, this is recruitment for the next generation. Let's go! Wait, wait, the history. We are the history. Freedom forever. Black is village. Freedom forever. Black excellence. We the history. It's enough. Yeah. Check the pulse of the nation, feel a tremor in the ground. Another hollow promise, another hateful sound. The burner phones are buzzing, the leak, DMs exposed. The country club whispers about the people in their robes. They smiling for the cameras, preaching unity and grace. We're drafting legislation to keep you in your place. The dog whistles the sirens, now the hoods are in the open. Igniting tiki torch shadows, leaving spirits broken. They wanna turn the clock back to a time of guilt and pain, where progress is a dirty word and fear is how they reign. But every soul they try to crush just learn to stand up straighter. This ain't a game of politics, this is gladiator. Enough is enough. The whispers turn into enough is a picture. Enough is enough. The people at the table filling up our cup. This ain't about a party, the lines are clearly drawn. It's the light against the darkness that's coming for the dawn. Holy versus evil is the truth against the lie. We ain't backing down with a fire in the sky. They coming for the libraries, wanna burn away the facts. Erase the bloody chapters so you can't see the tracks. They gerrymandering the district, drawing every map. Your vote is just an echo caught inside the power trap. They purging names from voter rolls and calling it secure, while scream about election fraud to keep their motives pure. They wanna legislate the scars upon a woman's soul, and own the very choices that were never theirs. Control from the classroom to the courthouse, a calculated scheme to suffocate the promise of the American dream. But they forgot the dream was dreamed by rebels and by slaves, and their spirit is the very ground that trembles in their graves. Enough is enough. People at the table filling up our cup. Oh, this ain't about a party, the lines are clearly drawn. It's the light against the darkness that's coming for the dawn. Holy versus evil is the truth against the lie. We ain't backing down in the sky. They call this politics, they call it policy, they call it survival, we call it tyranny. They stand on podiums with a Bible in their hand, but don't know the first thing about the soul of this land. This is for the teacher hiding books up on the shelf, for the doctor taking notes to more than just himself. This is for the dreamer facing down an ice patrol, for every ancestor's prayer that paid a spirit's toll. Their power is an illusion, a fortress made of glass. Our strength is in the future, they are terrified to let pass this hurricane of justice, an earthquake of the soul. It's a holy fire raging, and it's out of their control. Enough is enough. Standing too long, that you can't stand. Enough is enough. With the people at the table filling up our cup. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Yeah. Ain't no more quiet now. Nah. Tell them run that back. I said, hands up, head high, 10 toes. They monetize pain while the truth get froze. Big talks online, but they hearts stay cold. Still fighting for rights that was promised long ago. Ooh. We ain't your silence, nah. We ain't your fear. Hey. Every time they shut a door, we appear. From the city to the globe, here the people get loud. You can bury one voice, but you can't stop the crowd. Yeah. I'm from the side where the pressure make diamonds, where mothers pray hard cause the system stay violent. Kids learn trauma before they learn signs. Politicians campaign while communities dying. Look, everybody tweeting, everybody streaming, everybody woke till the camera stop beaming. Truth don't trend when the money intervening. That's why the real ones exhausted and screaming. Big change, fake morals, podium capping. Whole lot of hashtags, ain't nobody action. Trying to sell the vision with celebrity distractions. Meanwhile, rights disappear through strategic reactions. Close schools, close polls, close cases. Still see hate written all on their faces. History repeating, just switching the phrases. Different decades, same games, new stages. And they wonder why the people don't trust. Every headline feel dangerous to us. Every promise turned dust, but we still rise up, 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 rise up. Hands up, head high, 10 toes. They monetize pain while the truth get froze. Big talks online, but their hearts stay cold. Still fighting for rights that was promised long ago. Hey, we ain't your silence, we ain't your fear. Every time they shut a door, We appear from the city to the globe, here the people get loud. You could bury one voice, but you can't stop the crowd. Yeah, now everybody playing God with the algorithms, programming narratives and calling it the system. Who decides truth? Who decides wisdom? If the future artificial, who protect the children? Too much rage in the timeline scrolling. Young minds vulnerable, anger overloading. Everybody radical when the fear keep growing and the world stay tense while the missiles stay loaded overseas. War drums, contracts get signed. Oil, power, money always hide behind pride. Poor folks pay while the billionaires glide. And the news turn trauma into primetime vibes. Talk peace with a smirk while the stocks go up. To the working class, hold on, but enough is enough. People tired, people broke, people fed up. Still they call us angry every time we stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Listen, it's bigger than left or right, bigger than red or blue. People just wanna live, people just wanna breathe, people just wanna matter. But every generation gotta drag justice uphill, while somebody profits off the chaos. That's the part they don't say out loud. Hands up, head high, 10 toes. True hit harder when the beat line rolls. Can't sell fear to a soul that knows. Power to the people, let the whole world know. We ain't your silence, we ain't your shame. If the people wake up, everything changed. From the city to the globe, hear the whole crowd roar. You can't dim light when the spirit won't war. Rise up, even when they try to divide us. Rise up, even when the pressure find us. Yeah, yeah. Still here, still loud, still fighting. Love.
Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl Golden, and I'm back with another live, y'all. Happy Sunday to everybody. We almost at the end of the weekend in the top of the week. But we do have one more day and a few more hours to enjoy our weekend, y'all. So thanks for stopping in and spending some of your weekend time with me on this live. I have a few things that I wanted to talk about, and a really excellent, interview, or not necessarily an interview, conversation between a husband and wife that I love a lot. That's really important for a lot of things that we're seeing and experiencing in the world right now. And yes, it is a heavy topic, y'all. We are talking about Black life and Black experiences and things of that nature on a deeper level. And so, it may not be everybody's cup of tea. And this is things that, we have to speak about now because there's been such an uptick of unfortunate unalivings when it comes to Black youth, such as Nolan Wells and many others that we've covered here on this platform. But anyway, y'all, before we get into that too deep, it is about 3:19 p.m. here. The sun is shining bright and it's really warm and nice outside, y'all. So yes, I am in a good mood. A little bit tired, but I'm here. And I'm good. So thank y'all for joining me, and shout out to everybody who's already came in. And even if you are listening in the cut, we appreciate that as well. I hope you all are having a wonderful day in whatever respective time zone you're in, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or night for you. I hope you're having a beautiful Sunday, or it may even already be Saturday. We don't know, y'all, because of the different time zones. So respectfully, whatever time zone you're in and whatever time it is for you. I hope it's wonderful. Thank you for coming in, Carlos Sabu. And hey, Lacey, what's up? And happy life. How you doing? Thank y'all so much. Y'all know Mama Warrior is in the background. And of course, my co-host Amani. She was taking the day off, but I think she said she might slide through and kick it with us a little bit after a while. So we might have a little guest appearance from Imani and whatnot. But yeah, she was taking a day off to get some things done. But yeah, let me go ahead and let y'all know we're gonna talk about. I don't want to hold y'all too long for this one. But it's an excellent conversation, and it really has a lot to do with what we talk about over here in this platform all the time in a lot of our different lives. So again, thank you all, every one of you, for taking your time out to spend a moment with us today. So we're jumping right into a really powerful, heavy, and extremely necessary conversation. I want y'all to join me as we listen in, reflect together, and react to a recent episode of Fridays with Tab and Chance, which is over on Tabitha Brown's channel. It is her Friday segment that she does with her husband Chance over there. And they talk about a lot of really great topics. And of course, because we've been seeing so many, young Black youth losing their lives as of recently, especially one that is, heavily publicized right now, Nolan Wells. Um, they were asked to come on and speak about how they felt about that. And so on their live title, We're Tired, a honest conversation about Black life and Nolan Wells. We're going to be listening to a little bit of that together, y'all, and making our commentary as we go. But first, y'all, I want y'all to understand that with these conversations, it's not to make anyone, shy away or feel bad. And I would hope you wouldn't, right? Because if we all want to join together and rock with one another and love one another, then we have to be open to understand each other's experiences. And a lot of these things do come from our history, right? A lot of these things run through our blood, and they still stick with us, right? And we're seeing in current day that it seems like history just tends to be repeating itself. And these are one of the things that we have been, speaking up about and shouting about, a lot of us, not just us here on this platform, but other platforms as well. Um, because we see it. We're paying attention to the patterns. We see it. And we got to do something to combat it, y'all. But we also just want people to have more of an understanding when sometimes we come off a little angry. Sometimes we come off a little maybe combative, emotional, all of the different things. There are reasons for that because there are things that we experience and we go through in our life as Black people. And again, I am speaking from the Black American standpoint because that's what I am, a Black American. I was born and raised here in America, but I'm Black, right? And our experiences here in this country, I understand, can be a lot different from other, even Black people, right, in other countries, but of course, other races of people as well. It's not to say that nobody's experience is important and nobody hasn't been through terrible things and experiences based off of their race and where they're from, and where they're located. But when we talk about ours and we try to give a better understanding, to people that we connect with about our history, things that we've experienced, and how it kind of, they leave us being in a mindset and having emotions and feelings when we see things like this come out in the media. It does change you, right? And so I'm not going to talk too much, right? I'm going to go ahead and get into the video and we'll see exactly, a conversation between a wife and a husband who have Black children who live in America, and they are predominantly, public figures that tend to lead with light, love, happiness, joy, kindness, all of those things. And you'll see when they get to the segment and the talks about when sometimes, these type of things happen, it can tear away at that. of your kindness and your happiness and, your passiveness. Sometimes it's like you can't turn the other cheek anymore. And sometimes you get outraged. And sometimes people are going to be like, hey, why are you so angry? This not you. This not your character. This not how, we know you to be. But when enough is enough sometimes, and you're tired of seeing these type of headlines all of the time, you're tired of seeing the tears, you're tired of seeing the injustices, you're tired of seeing history repeat itself, then sometimes it's like, yo, what do you expect us to do? But let them talk. We're going to listen to the first about 10 minutes or so. And then y'all know I will meet y'all in the chat and we'll chit chat about this in between as we go, y'all. But we will be playing this one from beginning to end, y'all. And it's a really great conversation. So please, 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 if you would like to stay around, I really suggest that you do. You're going to hear a lot of great things and just some more insight and information as to what really goes on in these type of predicaments. All right, let's get into it, y'all, and I'll meet y'all in the chat.
We're not about to make this about me. I told
we're not.
Tab been interviewing me, Los, and I low key figured it out.
I have not been.
And you seen that on most of the the last couple of
He just been talking and I've been
she been on some interviewing type. So I look back at it, I was like,
I was not doing no
I
interview.
see what you doing.
Los, have I been interviewing him?
Yes.
Tiff.
Yes.
Have I been
About
interviewing
stuff that we
Chance or
usually talk
I
about.
think you just got to get used to the fact that you're allowed to talk more and you're sharing more.
But
Yeah,
she
he
know how
wants
to set
to
me up,
talk
though,
more.
Tiff. She set me up. She set me up.
Babe, you used to not even want to talk.
I know,
Man, you be talking and I be letting.
But it be no. But it be stuff that we used to be. She used to be like, this the side of you that the world need to see. You need it. And I'd be like, no, we're gonna give us a topic. And then I look back, I'm like, oh, I fell for the
Welcome to Fridays with Tab and Chance. I am Tabitha Brown, and this is my husband.
I'm Chance. What's up?
Bring the beat in. Right.
What you doing?
What you mean?
No, you don't never do that.
I know, but I just felt like in a moment.
No, you don't do what you feel. You don't do. You got to do what the routine is.
But sometimes you don't do what the routine is.
No. I got this. Put the pillow back. Put the pillow back, Will. Tiff.
But I like it.
No, ma'am.
But babe, if you play it back, look how we were in unison.
Come on, dear. You can try it. Come on, let's go. Ready?
Bring the beat in.
You see you.
What? What?
You off. If you're gonna do it, you gotta get it. You gotta get it right.
I'm not off.
Tab.
I'm on.
No. Come on now. We're on time restraint today.
Like for real.
I got this. I got it. Okay.
Oh, you gonna count us in?
You count us in like you are. Just do what we normally do.
I'm doing it right. That's exactly what you did. Or what you be doing.
You know what the problem is? You got no rhythm.
You
see how you was hitting the pillow?
That's excitement and passion.
No, babe, that's called no rhythm.
Babe, that is rhythm. What are you talking about? I got rhythm.
We can't get the show started because you doing stuff that you ain't got no business.
You go ahead then.
Ready?
You
Don't get no attitude. I need you to sing this.
Stop
and smile at the camera.
Stop, get your arm
Look,
out.
come on now. We got to see you being unprofessional. Come on.
What you want me to do now?
You got to say it, brother.
Bring the beat in.
Fridays with Tab and Chance.
Bum.
Fridays with Tab and Chance.
Since you ain't want me to do what I normally do, that was actually my attempt at bass.
I could tell you.
But that's not how I normally do.
Yeah. What's the topic, ma'am? What's the topic?
Sometimes you got to come in very lighthearted, jokey, when you know you're finna have a heavy topic.
Mm.
And that's what today is about. It's a little heaviness.
We're going to do it?
We're going to do it.
I am not responsible for what I say.
I think the fact that we have on Team Chance shirts today says a lot about where the conversation may go. Just know that we still Team Chance, no matter how deep you want to get in the water today. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe you know how deep we can go though. But I got you. I'm gonna get you got a life jacket.
Today's topic is about being Black and the weight that it can carry. Like it carries so many different weights, depending on where you are, depending on your experience. And this stemmed from the most recent events with Nolan Wells and all the conversations that have come about. I did a video when, it first came out about Nolan Wells. And I talked about like, nobody can understand what it's like to raise Black children, right? Unless you're raising Black children. There's a certain weight that carries on top of the weight you carry already being Black, specifically in America, right? So me and Chance were talking. He sent me a video of a guy, but I don't know if we want to get into that one already.
I'm ready for all the smoke. You just gotta understand who your husband is now.
Let me say, because I want to be very clear. What you're seeing right now and how I'm trying to choose my words is how we live every day. How we have to teach our children to live and be safe in the world, depending on the rooms they're in. Do you understand? We as Black folk have choices that we have to make every day that the average person does not. There are days that we have to restrain, suppress, to keep from flipping the whole table over, burning everything down. Like, we're seeing, like, Nolan is one of many. And like I said in the video that I posted, he's not our child, but he is our child. When we see these things constantly happening, it creates rage inside of us that we have to monitor how high and low it's going to allow us to get. Because it can cause us, anxiety, depression, anger, fear, things that we're already living with. But every time something like this happens, it's another level. It's another layer added. And I don't think we talk about it enough, how much this affects us mentally and emotionally, because we still got to go to work. We still got to go to school. We still got to show up in the world. We still got to go to the grocery store. We still got to go to common areas with people who don't always see us as human, who don't value our life, who don't love us. We still have to show up and act like we're not bothered some days just to get through our day, although we are bothered and hurting inside. And that's a lot of weight to carry. And when I think about how God created us and created us to be here now, I know that means that, okay, he knew we were strong enough to carry the weight, but it still don't mean it's not heavy. And so I wanted to talk about it. I think that we need to make this a conversation. Also, I think the racist people in the world, the way I have seen messages and comments online, it's disgusting. But also, there's such a disgusting free will to be nasty that I think we need to talk about how hard we work on restraining from grabbing somebody by their neck. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, we work real hard on being joyful and peaceful people. But I think that people need to know we tired.
And I think we
well.
do too good of a job.
That's what I'm saying. To make it, and they didn't got too comfortable.
I think we do too good of a job at doing it to where your argument for being afraid of us, you may be in certain circumstances, but if you understood, you ain't afraid in the way that you should be, to where you wouldn't mess with my kids. So this is a very, very like tough conversation for me for many reasons, because like people will send messages and say, hey, y'all should do this conversation on your platform. And what people don't know when they send those messages, we can be rational thinking people. We can be loving and present, one way on 99% of the subjects. But when you start talking to specifically me about my family, the possibility of somebody hurting my son, I don't have the mental capacity. I don't have the capability of doing that and thinking rational. And that's coming from a law enforcement background. That's coming from, I got a little bit more knowledge about how the law works, and even being somebody from the South, growing up in a similar type community, I got a little bit more background on that. And you would think that I would be a little bit more level-minded with those things. But when you start talking to me about the idea of what I think is going on with Nolan Wells, but I can't prove, and then you want me to get in front of the camera and talk about it, or you pushing these people to talk about it and be rational and be loving and all of that. I want you to ask yourself, how much am I asking of these normal people, these Black people, right? So I'm not so quick to do it. And we hinted on this video. This man put out this video, and it was, he was upset just talking about, like, how scared are you if you're messing with my kids? And I'm not going to be on the video crying and doing all of that like we've seen thousands of times with Black families and law enforcement, or these kind of situations where it suggests that we're being treated unfairly. He's saying, hey, I'm not going to do all of that. I'm not the person to be that person, because I've seen it too many times. I'm going to hurt somebody. And it was on the lines of an eye for an eye. And me and Tab had a discussion about it. And to be quite honest, I told her, I agree. In this state of mind where I'm at, I don't feel like it is, I could be that person. And this is the reason why. This is my reason why. And this was when it was real new, and it was raw to me. My history has been taken away from me. My history, I'm talking about me specifically. My history has been taken away from me. And the history that I know was tainted as a result of slavery, Jim Crow, whatever, all of the things involved, laws being written that are unfair, to like, and I know this from the background that I'm telling you. I'm not just speaking on something that I don't have any knowledge about. This is something that I know. But I can also say that I've been able to hold it in the road because I've seen changes happen over time. I've seen my family dynamic grow from my restraint and from my putting one foot in front of the other. I've seen all of that. So I, try to restrain, and I have not done a good job in restraining other things. But I've done enough to push the needle forward, in my opinion. But when you take a man's son away, now you're taking my future. I don't have a past that I can reflect to, in my opinion, that can make me feel good and wholesome. But now you go messing, you threaten my future, my entire legacy, everything, and all my hard work and restraint. Now you asking of us to do something that is unbearable for me, for the kind of human being that I am. And because I don't want to push a narrative of violence, and because I don't want to push a narrative of, I don't know if I'm right, but I know I'm not afraid. And I know I'm not afraid, and I'm not, and there's worse things in this world to me than dying.
All right, y'all. So what do y'all think about this conversation so far and some of the things that we've heard thus far? If you're listening, if you're paying attention, I listened to this conversation between Tabitha and Chance, and I was like, oh, I was crying. I had chills. Because a lot of the things that they're saying within this conversation is things that, we've said over here on this platform and talked about, a lot of other people talk about as well. And it's literally getting to a point where, and I had a conversation about this earlier, it's getting to a point where people are being pushed to the very edge, right? And we know that we're talking about, in this particular conversation, when it comes to Black lives, right? Black lives, Black youth, and how we're going to move forward in responding to the continuous cases and circumstances that are happening amongst our children and our youth and our people, right? And then, like they said, we try our hardest to pray and rise above and be positive and still love regardless and give chances and all of these things that we choose to do moving forward, while yet knowing that we live in a world and society, especially as of now, it has gotten like even worse. It's been pretty bad, I would say, for the past 5 years now, where a lot of the the old school tropes and things of that nature seem to have reignited, and or maybe just the masks are being pulled off, and maybe we're no longer in the sleeper cell and we're waking up to see that as much as history can change, it tends to stay the same, right? And so we're seeing so much of that right now, on a consistent basis. It's almost like every day. And y'all know, I do my content, I report on politics, I report on the history and things of that nature. And so I have to go out and I have to do the research, and I have to see what has happened, what is going on. And it's almost like every day that I do see there's some type of injustice, there's some type of tragedy, there's some type of encounter, where there seems to be possibly some racial tension or divide. And I know a lot of people are pushing and preaching for, the fact that let the judicial system do its job. We need the evidence and the facts and the proof. And I'm not saying I'm someone who does not agree with that. But we also have to look at the foundation of the judicial system, especially in the United States and where it stands right now under the current administration that we have, right? So we do know, like from the very beginning, a lot of these systems and structures that were set up, they were never set up with Black and brown people in mind, right? So even when it comes to the Constitution and things of that nature and rights, that we feel like, yeah, we should have them as well if we reside in this country. Even when all of that was being created, it was never being created with Black and brown people included in the mix, right? So we already gonna know it's a rigged system. It was rigged from jump, and it will continue to be so. And so we have to deal with that, right? And so the main thing that they tell us and they want to preach to us is, well, wait for the judicial system to do its job. Wait for the facts and the evidence and the proof and all of the things, to come out before you pass any judgment or feel a type of way or have any type of thought or feeling about what may have happened. A part of me wants to believe that because a part of us always wanted to believe that because we got tricked or fooled into believing that it actually worked and cared about all people equally. But as we navigated through life and we started to see how these structures of these systems were set up, we started to notice it wasn't set up to be that way. And it doesn't often work that way, right? And so when you have too many encounters and situations where you see that even if you do it or try to go about it the right way, it's still not going to bring truth, answers, and proper justice to you because of the color of your skin or the race that you are, then you start not believing in the system. And so when these things continue to happen and someone is shouting in your face, just wait for all of these things to come out. Just wait for, the law officials to do their job and the judicial system to do their job. And what we know more than the success stories are the horror stories and the fast closed cases that never get the proper justice. We never get the proper answers. And these type of things just continue to seem to happen over and over again to our children, to our people, period. And so that is making people have to make up their mind as far as like when is enough and when do we see this system and this setup for what it actually is and what do we do about it, because we cannot keep allowing these things to happen, right? And if the judicial system and the law official system is not going to do anything to help and obey, with these type of situations and cases, then what are people left to do? And how are they left to feel, right? Discarded, ignored, unimportant, uncared for, right? Like they're not human. They're slaughtering our children like animals as if they were just out somewhere in the woods shooting down game or deer. We're losing our children at that rampant of a rate, literally with that same type of humorous, like it's almost fun for these predators to hunt down Black children and unalive them. It's like a sport these days, right? But we know it historically it was the same way. And now we see in current day time, we're going back to that. Nah, we're not going back to that. We see it happening. And this is why we are at a crossroads right now, because we're seeing it happening way too often, way too much, with not enough care, not enough justice, no answers, not enough empathy. And what do you expect people to do? What would you expect Mufasa to do when he seen what was going on with Simba? That's all I'm going to say, right? And when it comes to people having their offspring, their children, number one, we got to talk about their children. That's number one. But we're also talking about our tribe, right? So the whole pride lands, right? You can put it in a Disney movie. You can put it in a cartoon to make it seem more simple for you. What do you expect us to do? What do you expect is going to come from this? And what do you expect is going to happen? That's all I'm saying. But let's get back into the video.
Try to restrain from getting in front of the camera and having this conversation, but also understanding why people think that me and my wife and our household are the ones that need to have this conversation. I get it, because I get it. We have a reach that the average person doesn't have. But I just wanted to give you some insight on why you may see the hesitation, and because as level-minded as we are about relationship, our goals for our family, not putting out bad narratives, we still human, and I'm raising my kids in this world, and I know what I'm capable of, and I know the impact that we have.
So with everything you just said, right, goes back to, see how you got to be mindful and restrained.
Yeah, and I
ain't nobody else got to do that.
Ain't nobody else having
right?
to do that.
So even the freedom to just be and exist still for us comes with like, oh, we want to be respectful. We want, it comes with some type of almost like a stipulation.
It's
right?
a responsibility.
It is a responsibility.
It's a responsibility that it shouldn't just be ours alone, but it feels like we're alone. And it creates more frustration for me.
And I understand it, but that because I feel like, this world, unfortunately, that we live in was not created to make us comfortable. But it's past time to make other people uncomfortable. It's past time for that. The fear we live in, other people should have to live in the same fear. Do you understand? Like, I love everybody. And I desire to spread love.
And it could have been peace. But they didn't want to share the peace. But we're going to share the fear, is what you're getting at. The fear is supposed to be shared.
If
one of them got to be shared.
If it's supposed to be love, peace, and happiness for all, which is what I believe, then that fear going to need to be respected and shared, right? So something got to give. You should be deathly afraid to mess with our children. You should be deathly afraid to mess with our children. Just like we have had to be deathly afraid to raise Black children, to be Black in certain spaces. That fear that we have had to live with for hundreds of years. Somebody else should have to start feeling that fear. Because I'm tired. And I'm like, I choose joy every day. I choose light. I choose love. I choose peace until I don't.
I think sometimes it's mistaken for, like often, you hear it all the time, people mistaking that joy and peace and all that for
like kindness for weakness.
Kindness for weakness.
But that's also, the thing,
but also like they choose they weakness and the fear, right? I think that there is a misconception that we fear you enough to let you even kill off our kids. And that is where I'm like, nah. Nah, there's like, if it to me, And we shouldn't even have to have this conversation. And we have went.
Well, this is what I said. We didn't do it, but we've had to endure it.
Oh.
We didn't do this. We didn't do it, but we've had to endure it. Literally, it has been our cross to bear. We've had to carry this, and we didn't do it to ourselves. And so it's exhausting, but it's also like when I think of my son, my children, Nolan, that's he ain't mine, but he mine. It could be any of our children. You get to a place where you like, baby, you done pushed us too far.
I'm out of here.
The person that you be like, she ain't never been like that before. Mm-hmm. She always was until she won't. He always was a man of peace until he won't. Mm-hmm. Like how far do you want to push us? That's all I'm saying. I'm like, I want us to be able to all live together in peace and harmony. But if you don't want to do it, and that's what it feels like is constantly being shown to us when our kids keep coming up missing or murdered, or we don't get information and secrets and things are being hidden. Like,
and when it's our,
it's a constant. It's like you're adding more and more. Eventually, the dam is gonna break. Like that's the thing. Like I don't know. It's just, to me, I just feel like there's too much comfort in our lives not being valued, and it's exhausting. And I didn't carry the weight for a long time as a Black woman, as a Black daughter. I remember
as a Black wife.
Yeah, as a Black wife, like I remember being a child, because as Black folk, this stuff starts early for us. I remember being a child, and every Sunday when we went to church in Ruffin, and we would come go to my granny house who lived in Draper. So there's a back road from Ruffin to Draper that you take. Every Sunday, we knew we was getting pulled over. Every Sunday. It was like a whole like summer that the state trooper would pull my daddy over. And the fear that we all had for no reason. It was almost like he was taunting him to instill fear. And I'm 47, and I still remember that from being 10. Like, it still sits inside of me. Like, that's a piece of weight that I still carry. It gets heavy. So.
Excuse me, sir. How old were you when you made your first million?
Yes, I choose joy. Yes, I try to show up and be happy, but it also is hard. And that's even joy gets heavy, because you got to show it in a world that's dark sometimes. And I know I heard Felicia Rashad say light is not heavy, but sometimes it is. Because you gotta push it and elevate the light through a whole lot of darkness.
Some people choose not to look at the light.
They do.
They choose to look the other way. They don't want to step into it. It's right there, and they choose for some reason. And it's always us. It seems like trying to figure out why. You mentioned earlier about continuously carrying on and questing, our son, and it just made me think like like the conversations that I've had to have in recent days, taking off, I'm having to get out of the I'm having to get out of the thing that has brought me joy and pleasure, which is coaching, and mentoring being the primary portion of my day now because of most recent events. Um,
All right, y'all. So we're gonna stop it right there for a quick commentary break. And y'all, I told you, my lovely co-host Imani, she said she was gonna be popping through, child, and she did, y'all. So she just popped up. So let me go ahead and welcome Imani on up, girl. How is you doing? How are you feeling? Thank you so much. I know this is your day off, girl, but you choose to slide in. I know this conversation in this interview is something that we both have watched and listened to, and we really wanted to talk about together. So thanks for coming on your day off, girl. I know you had some things going on today, but it's really deep, it's heavy, and it's truthful, and I think it really can paint a picture for a lot of people as far as where we stand sometimes as Black people. But I guess we could say more specifically Black Americans. It's not to take away from any other Black group of people in any other country or area within this globe, but we do know that sometimes our experiences are different because of where we reside, right? But at the core, we are Black people. So what's up, Imani? How you doing, girl? How you feeling? Thanks for popping in real quick. I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm doing well. Yeah, I think it's raining here. Actually, it's either raining or very windy, but
Oh no.
it's 9 p.m. Is it raining? No, it's not. It's just windy. Yeah, it's 9 p.m. It's a bit cooler today. I'm good. Had a nice weekend. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm kicking over things. I had a nice weekend. Yeah, I'm feeling great. Whereabouts are you up to? You're at 20 minutes. Am I right?
and because of the concern, my joy has been.
I'm sorry, girl. I had to check. We're at 24 minutes now. 24
Yeah.
minutes. So Chan is about to go in, and he's going to speak from a male perspective, from a father perspective, from a Black man perspective, as far as how he has to navigate in this world. Just being a Black man, having a Black son, preparing his Black children for the world that waits for them, despite the fact that he's even been a Black man that works in law enforcement. But he knows, even within working in that career, and it's not the same for all races of people. So we just got up to that point. But it
Okay.
was a few things that I wanted to touch on that Tabitha said. But were you listening a little bit, or because I know you
Yeah,
listened to
yeah.
it?
I was just gonna really because I was just recapping on the part two where they're talking more. They've moved on from the Nolan Wells case to the longer term impact these events have on Black families, and they as they said, it's not limited to one family or one community, but it's often felt collectively, with a lot of people reflecting and seeing the reflections in their own children, siblings, or loved ones in these tragedies. And as we've shown this week, there are many, there are quite a few of these cases, more than we know, because they don't get highlighted. Um, but, Tabitha does talk about remaining hopeful whilst repeatedly witnessing these painful things, and she's choosing optimism that this is all the stuff we've been talking about over these weeks, with all these interviews, with all these things that are going on even in politics, and it's intentional to try and be optimistic and try and be hopeful, and that's not ignoring the reality, because hope is a way of resisting going into despair about these things, because these things can make you despair, they can make you depressed, but we've always got to try and have some hope. And Chance, this is a great conversation, because they're obviously a married couple, but the importance of emotional honesty and strength doesn't mean suppressing your grief, and pretending everything's fine, because because we all know not everything's fine, but you gotta acknowledge the pain, but not and try not to carry it in silence, because then it festers and becomes something else. um, and there is a difficult balance, and I can say this even from my perspective, because I have a son, and I remember at one stage we used to say, if we could get our sons, because of what was going on out there, to age 25, this is a fact. We used to sit down and talk amongst ourselves because of what was going on, because of how many of the children were being lost at a young age. Trigger warning, I will tell you, because I have been on the end of, people who've been impacted by youth violence and by other violence. We used to say, if we can get our sons to age 25, because that seemed to be an age where there was less of this stuff going on. And I mean, imagine sitting there thinking, I've got to get my son to age 25 and I think he's going to be okay. Just resonate on that. We used to sit there and talk about getting our sons to age 25. And thankfully, I did get my son to age 25. But a lot of us used to sit there when there was a lot of stuff going on in the community and outside the community, and people were, being unalived in custody. People were being unalived by other youths, the gang stuff. Just different things, even happening in the schools as well. We used to sit there and say, if I can get my son to age 25, I've done a good job. Imagine that. And that's from me, a mother of a black, black child, a black boy. Think about that. Think about the fact that we're thinking if we can get them to 25, what that means. So there is a difficult balance between protecting your children and preparing them for the realities of the world, which is what we have to do on a daily basis. We have to talk to them about how they respond to the police, because, even where I live, there has been a case where there has been a police chase, and a young man who was younger than my son, he was 23, was pow-powed in the car by armed police. And then it turned out that he had a mobile phone, and they had them surrounded. These things are happening out there. It's not a joke. So you got to try and preserve your child's innocence by equipping them with the awareness needed to navigate through these difficult situations. And so there is a need for community support during these times, all times, not only during times of tragedy. And families shouldn't have to carry their overwhelming grief alone. And there is an encouragement for neighbours and the community to come together, the churches, everybody, to provide practical and emotional support whenever possible, because there are people who are going through certain things, and they're not in the news and they're not on social media, but they're still going through similar things. And we have to think about those people in our community that need our help, that may need someone to just cook something for them, to just find out if they're doing okay, to make telephone calls for them. When I worked at the community centre, where we used to, feed the children in the mornings breakfast before their mothers went to work, that's the sort of stuff we used to do. We used to have a lot of funerals for young people of aged 18, and I don't want to depress you guys, but what we used to do was get a group of people together to try and do all the stuff and help some of these parents, because no, some of these parents had never buried anybody, never buried anybody. So they needed the help. They needed the phone calls. They needed the people that can help them, to help do stuff, some practical stuff that's really difficult at a time of great grief. So, we've got to come together as communities, and that's not just black communities, that's every community, and help people where we can and look out for our neighbors. And faith is a great source of resilience. And we should be, if that is where you are at and who you believe in, everybody has their own creator that they believe in. We don't have to only talk about Christianity, but, spiritual grounding uh, can help navigate this uncertainty, this grief, without becoming consumed by hopelessness. And I will put some resources for grief counseling and stuff like that and victim support in the chat. So just try and help transform some of this negativity into positive action rather than allowing tragedies to only produce anger or despair. You know, when the community comes together, that's when we have hope. And it's a help, and it helps strengthen all of us, and support the young people where we can. That's what I've got to say. I'm sorry if I've gone back over stuff you've already talked about, but really, it's a matter of unity and collective activity and working together to support people.
No, girl, you didn't, go back over anything that we've already been through. No, it all was relevant in everything that you said. And everything stands out in this conversation, honestly. And I love the dual dynamic that we get to hear from a black woman. We also get to hear from a black man. We get to hear from a black mother, but we also get to hear from a black father who both share black children and know about the black experience and are predominantly from the South in America, right? And as you added, as far as, your story, Imani, that's a story that did not happen in America. That's a story that happened in the UK area. And so what we know to be true is when you are black wherever you go. You're going to have a black experience wherever it is you live at and you reside at. One of the things that I wanted to point out that Tabitha said that was important to me is the fact that, and we all know Tabitha Brown is like, she's as sweet as pie. She always has a smile. If she's going through something, you won't even know it, child. She will put on a smile and pretend that it's not even happening. But that takes a toll on you. And she talked about previously in other videos and also in this one as well, that sometimes living your life that way, it's more of a sacrifice than anything, because there are a lot of feelings and emotions that you suppress, right? Because you want to put your best foot forward. You want to come out and you want to spread joy and love and kindness to the people, even within your darkest moments, right? Even when you're going through, and I'll just say heck and high water, right? But you don't want to rub that off on other people. So a lot of times when you show up to the public, it's like, okay, we've learned how to do this, y'all. We've learned how to put our mask on, put our smiles on, and just go out there and put on for the people, put on for the stage, put on for the job, put on for whatever it is we need to put on for. But deep down inside, we're probably cracking up. We're falling apart. We're angry. We wanting to attack. We wanting to, retaliate. All of those emotions live within the human body, right? And the human emotions. And I think the individuals that you say, like, if you see somebody who really has that type of resilience and, can really like work through all of that, but still come out with love and light and peace and happiness and uplifting, I think that's a superpower, honestly, in my personal opinion. And I think that because we've had to live the way that we had to live, and it's not, we are talking about the black race right now, but other races as well. All of us have times where we have to, adapt certain things in our lives that can become our superpowers, right? Because there's things that we have to navigate through, we have to fight through, we have to, put on our best face and our best, persona and act like these things aren't tearing us apart. And a lot of people will sometimes judge you and question, like when you do have those moments of a volcanic explosion, they will like hold it against you or be very like questionable. Like, Oh, but this person has always been so kind. This person ain't never been like this. When this person started talking like this, when this person started acting like this, when this person started cutting up like this, you have to understand that there is a lot of buildup that comes before that volcano erupts, right? And it's a lot of things that are happening in our physical lives. And then we come to this platform and we see and we bear witness to things that are happening on this platform. And there's a lot of things that we're taking in and we're dealing with and we're, trying to put it together and understand all of it. And when we get down to the core of it, what I think really shakes our spirits is that, especially when it comes to, us using our Black youth very early on, right? Before they even had a chance to live their lives, and not giving the proper justice for it to just be seen as, oh, this is just another life lost. It's nothing that big. It's nothing that serious. Nobody cares. Nobody's talking about it. That really adds up. You know what I mean? Like it really does a number on you because we are tired. Just like it says in my title, and just like they have been saying in this entire life, we are tired and we have been trained or taught or conditioned to, when we are in the brink of the darkness, right? And the this mistreatment and the racism and the prejudice, we have been conditioned to know that anytime we overreact, it makes that situation 10 times worse, right? That's what we know to be true, living as Black people. And so we have to sometimes, if an officer is coming at us and we know we've done nothing wrong and we're being apprehended for no reason whatsoever, there's certain ways that you're taught to respond and not to respond. If you're getting pulled over, there's certain ways that you're taught to respond and not to respond. And these are lessons that have to be taught so we can live to see another day. Because if you respond the wrong way, if you say the wrong thing, if you make the wrong movement, if you shift in the wrong direction, it can cost you your life. And I don't know if a lot of other people and different races of people have ever experienced that or understand that, but that is a constant thing that happens within the Black community and amongst Black people. And so, yeah, we do walk around with PTSD. We do walk around with anxiety. We do walk around with depression. We do walk around with, pent up energy and anger that we can't express and we can't unleash the way we would like to, because it can lead to a fatality, right? And so I just feel as though these conversations are important to have because it gives a better understanding and background of sometimes our personalities. When we fly off the handle, when you see we trying to pull back and we not trying to fly off the handle. And one of the things that Tabitha said as well is, just because you choose, and it's a choice. Because, child, I know I could choose very different. I know Imani can choose very different. I know there's a lot of people out there that can choose very different. We don't have to walk around on this earth the way that we do. Still pushing love, still pushing light, still pushing unity, still pushing understanding, still pushing forgiveness, right? We don't have to peddle any of that. It's too easy to peddle the other stuff, right? Because we done been wearing it for too long. But when you choose to move in light and love and peace and unity and calmness, it really does chip away at you. It puts a heavy weight on you. And a lot of people sometimes will try and look at you and say that you are weak because of it, that you are naive because of it. This is a choice that we make every day. And a lot of the reasons why we make these choices is because when we live in the environments that we walk in, work in, step in every day, we have to be this way to survive. And we want to see a better tomorrow for our children and for our youth. So we're choosing to be the better side of the evil. We're choosing to be the light that we want to see. We're choosing to be the change that we want to see. And what Tabitha also said is it's about unity. That's how God created it. That's what we desire and that's what we want. But it seems like there's one side that wants it and there's another side that doesn't. And how do you combat that? Meanwhile, our children are being taken from us. No justice is being served to us. We're being seen as less than yet again and yet again. The volcano is piling up, ready to erupt. What do you think comes from that? And how long do you think it's going to be before a lot of volcanoes start to erupt? It's not going to be pretty. So all we asking is, yo, cut it. But, let's get back into the video, unless you have a few more things to add. Imani, you want to play some more? I don't want to talk too much, but I'm really passionate about this topic.
No, I was just hoping that you heard what I was saying because I think my mic cut out.
No, we heard, I heard all your part. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. All right. Because my
Okay, let's
mic
get
cut out
back.
and I had to go out and come back in. But no, we can go on.
Yeah, you finished before that. So we heard, before it dropped down or whatnot, you had finished. So we did hear all of what you said. But I'm going to go ahead and play some more of this real quick because now you're going to hear from a black man, a black father, right? And this is how this black man has to walk around with his experiences in life from youth until the age he's at, but also raising a black boy and black children. Listen to this part, it's pretty deep.
Taken away because I have to prepare my son for this world. He's the same age as the young man at the gas station. It's just been so many different events to where now I'm having to take off one hat and focus more on like, hey, you're 14, son. Where there's joy, and I'm like, hey man, my boy is growing up.
He's 14 and 6'1".
And and I'm having conversations with him about where I want to be happy like the other people in on our team and in my organization, where their kids are growing and hitting growth spurts, getting their little mustaches and getting to wear their hair, how they want to. They putting on their little cologne and all of that. I got to look at my baby and concern that he may be mistaken for an older kid, and somebody may not try to see the child in you and do you harm. I got to educate him on how to handle himself in spaces where he's supposed to be protected, and he may think that he is equal, or he's because I was raised with them, or we share this common thing, which is a sport man, how they came about it and how you came about it, and where your height, your size, where you may be happy for them, they may resent you for it. I'm having conversations with him at 14 to take preventative measures. Mm-hmm. And so he can miss some of the things that I was naive to that left scars. But then there's the question in my head is, am I scarring him? Am I going ahead and initiating the pain early in his life, hoping that it doesn't create pain later, and then having to live with the fact that
you didn't prepare him.
I still no.
If you don't,
there is no preparation. It ain't just did I prepare him. It's I have to live with the burden of, I know that this is hard, this is hurtful in the moment, son, to learn this and to remove you from this joyous occasion and remind you that you're a black kid and that there's differences and blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. That's a scar. He gonna remember that. It may be a small scar or whatever, but there's still no guarantee in the future that I've prepared him enough, because the goal line is always being moved.
Yeah.
That is the thing. The goal line is always being moved, and always there's an excuse. There's always a reasoning for why the goal line is being moved. right? There's no amount of money, there's no amount of parenting, there's no amount of respect, there's no amount of fear, there's no amount of anything that can get you just to be within reason to be looked at as not a threat. All of these things, you know what I'm saying? There's no amount of education, right? That can give you a guarantee.
You still
on
have to
something that's so
educate
stupid.
them, though. That's
Right.
the thing.
So when and I'm going to educate them until the day that I leave here, and I'm gonna protect them until the day that I leave here. But it just made me think about it in the sense of what's been happening in recent days and how it's like so unfortunate, because I've always taken a pleasure in mentoring our entire community, right?
Absolutely.
But
I think it's also just as important to mentor the kids who are not Black, so that they understand their friends
and I've done
and the weight that their friends have to carry.
And I always try my best to do that.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First,
that's
but
where
the village
allyship comes in.
Right there. But I refer to it as a village.
Absolutely.
Right. I always say, we are a village, and in a village, nobody can come in here empty-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start noticing that people want to walk through the door empty-handed, they don't want to do nothing but take from the actual village. That's where I'm like, oh, okay, I got to change course here,
mm-hmm.
and now protect the village, change hats, and now not be so open to who walks in this door. Because as much as I want to believe that things have changed, and they ain't changed enough for my comfort and
mm-hmm.
for the gamble of my son's life. So I'll change the hat. Mm-hmm. I'll change the hat. And now it becomes more of a selfish thinking and
mm-hmm.
and in my preparation for his future and ours.
But I mean, it still goes back to that's more weight we have to carry. I mean, last week, Quest wanted to go to the store with his friends. They all was riding bikes and walking, and he texted me and was like, "Mom, can we stop at the store and get snacks?" I literally had to text him and say, "Hey, remember you're a young Black boy. Make sure your shirt is on." Because, it was hot. They had been, in the pool, had taken their shirts off. Make sure your shirt is on. Make sure you got your phone out, your money in hand. Because unfortunately, they sometimes look at young Black boys and assume that they're stealing. Don't give them any reason to think that you're doing anything wrong. It's my first thought. He 14. Just a kid with money going into a store with his friends. And that's what I have to tell him.
A block away from the house.
A block away from my house.
Mm.
And I still have to tell him and remind him how to walk in the store. That's weight.
What did I do? This is how. So people, I want you to understand. I want people to, and I know there's going to be a lot of people out here who can relate. I golf, and I love it. My family and all my friends know it. But the same situation with Tab, my son called me and he said, "Hey, Dad, can I ride my bike can I ride bikes to the store with my friends?" And I'm like, I just had a conversation with him about maturity, making good decisions so he can have the independence and freedom as he goes into high school. So he has to prove to us that he can be mature, make good decisions and all of that. I just had a conversation with him and his friends and the kids that I mentor, trying to help them navigate this space as they go into high school with their parents and understanding how to be respectful, that your parents have jobs and all of this stuff. These are the type of topics that I have with them on how to navigate these spaces. And he called me and I'm on the golf course. And I say, "Son, no, but," I said, "Nah, you kind of sprung this on me. And that's something new. The other kids, Quest is fairly new to really getting out and riding his bike and stuff." So I said, "Nah, I'm sorry, no, Dad don't feel good about that. So his friends all made a decision to walk. And we thought it was okay if they walked to the store on the bikes. And while I'm on the golf course, I can't think about nothing but my son. I'm probably 15, 20 minutes drive away. The fear that came over me was just when my son walking to the store. It's about a block and a half away from the house. It was so overwhelming because of most recent events. And we live in California. This is crazy. It was so overwhelming that I left. I literally drove off and left and went and met him and watched him walk back without him knowing. Drove home, got his bike, and rode his bike to where he was. Because it was two things. It's not because of one. It's two things. I want to teach him a valuable lesson that his dad is a man of his word. But son, let me express to you, I have to help you grow up right here, the anxiety that dad has. It comes from you riding your bike into traffic, but how this world views you. But dad is still going to be a man of his word and try to teach you to be a man of your word. And I want to show you how much I love you in this sense so that you'll make good decisions and know that you come from a loving father. These are decisions that are made and that are not easily made, that we constantly have to make based on fear and balance of trying to do the right thing. And I don't want him to be raised to be a man of bad character, but the extra task of the extra lift of stuff that should just be given as a human is frustrating as hell. Like, you listen, I'm not asking for anybody to give us nothing. I don't need you to give me, but just be respectful of my kids. Don't try to hurt my kids.
See their humanity.
Just have some humanity. And when you don't, if you don't, understand that all of this, just have a good day. And if you can't, don't go messing up nobody else's. Even the greatest of people, don't consider this shit that you see with your hands as weakness. And don't look at my history and be like, hey, this dude can be, because I have a breaking point and I'm going to tell you where it is. I'm not even going to hide mine. My breaking point is with my family. If that's it, I'm off the ledge. I'm gone. And it ain't no pastor. It ain't no book. It ain't no law. And there's people like me in this world. So just be careful of when you break that down, just understand there's certain people out here, and I pray to God that me or the people that I'm thinking about never have to tap into this. I'm only saying it, I'm not trying to be tough. I'm only saying it because it seemed like it need to be said. Not a threat, shouldn't have to be said. Not a threat, but it's true. And you need to know it's very much so true that this book is a different kind of book. And we don't want to get there. I don't want to get there. Just giving you some insight on the things that live in our head that we have to carry, the weight that we have to carry, so you can, hopefully it can give you some insight, but also trigger something in your head, like change this narrative of fear.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it. Just
My fear is different. I don't have the fear that I think most people think. My fear is I let him out. And y'all don't want to see him. And when they come to that boy,
Mhm. I-
Mm-mm.
Again, the weight.
The weight.
The weight of parenthood, Black parenthood, the weight of Black womanhood, Black manhood, sisterhood, like the weight, brotherhood. It is a lot of weight that we carry, and we carry it with grace and dignity, love and light. But weight always can get too heavy. And so I think we all should consider that. Everybody reaches a breaking point. And my hope and prayer is still that one day we can all like literally live together in this world, respectfully, seeing each other's humanity, loving each other, and being community together, being a village together. But also in that, remember, there's a healthy amount of fear that everyone should have, because things are, as much as things have changed, they're still the same. But people are getting tired. And I've seen this so many times, and I don't think people think about it enough. We're such a loving people that we don't seek revenge. And everyone's prayer should be that we never get to a place where that's what we decide. That enough is enough. Let's get revenge. That ain't the mindset that anybody should want us to be in. So we got to all start thinking together. Man, we in this world together. God placed us here together. So things don't really get ugly. Like, let's all make a choice to see each other.
Whoa. So I stopped it right there, y'all. We did listen to quite a bit. Child, okay. Those final comments that Tabitha made and the way she said it, my sentiments exactly, right? Because when it's coming to a lot of these things, like we've been trying to tell it, we've been trying to talk about it, we've been trying to make it understandable, and we've been fighting and protesting and doing all of the things for so long, and we've seen that there literally is not that much change, right? As much change as people seem to think that we have, because they lay in their cushions of their money and their mansions and their cars and their clothes and their jobs and all of the things. When you look at what is happening in a civil way right now, especially in the current, okay, if you're not in a bubble or you're not living in a life where you feel as though it doesn't apply to you, it's not going to affect you and yours, but you actually see it on a grand scale for what it is. And you know that we have people that have been paying attention to it from the moment that they, it came into their focal point up until now, right? We see what's going on. And, for Tabitha, right? And Tabitha is really a sweet spirit, a very loving spirit. She sheds light and love wherever she goes and whatever she talks about. But when we're talking about these injustices, we're talking about this racism, we're talking about these inequalities, we're talking about being fed up, we're talking about being sick and tired, we're talking about people not understanding us, not understanding our backgrounds, not understanding our experiences. That is, unfortunately, literally where it can go. And I think people just don't want it to go there. And I'm saying that from the depths of my soul and my heart and my mind. For anybody out there who is listening, if you fully understand when it comes to not just the history that runs through our blood in our veins, but the experiences that a lot of us had since we were little kids on the sandlot. And so the adults that we are now, being Black people living in whatever country we may live in, living a Black experience. And we are telling you, literally telling you right now, that we are just about fed up. And you know that we suppress ourselves from responding the way we could respond, from reacting the way we could react, from attacking the way we could attack. But we're telling you now, we didn't have about enough. I think you need to heed that warning. Because especially if we all stand together as a people in a united front, and even with some allies on the side that may not just be Black, but just allies, it's not going to end well. And we don't want to have any more additional wars than what we already have raging in this world. Civil wars in all of our states and cities, world war all over across the globe, spiritual war between light and darkness, good and evil, wars within ourselves. We don't need to take on any more wars. We're already fed up, pumped up, ready to go, honestly. And it's just, that's just how I feel about it. I felt that energy coming from Tabitha, even from a person who, like I said, so peaceful and so sweet and so nice and sheds love and sheds light. And that's how I try to be most of the time, y'all. But I'm telling y'all for real. And Tabitha, she's older than me or whatever. She's a finer wine than me. And she's been doing this for a long time. And she's more spiritually inclined. So she has more regulations over her feelings, her outbursts, and her behaviors. And so that's why I really love her. Like, I look up to her energy because I want to be like her. And I know that the answer is unity amongst us all. But we have to be realistic in this thing, y'all. Like, come on. What are we doing here? Are we gonna continue to allow history to repeat itself? And are you gonna continue to think that Black and brown people are just going to lay down and continue to take it? We are a different generation. We are not our ancestors. Our ancestors' blood is part of us, but we are not our ancestors. So we're not gonna respond to this the same way. We're not going to show up the same way that they did. We're not going to fight the same way that they did, or lack of fight that they had. It's not going to be the same when it comes to us. And we got our little young ones that's coming up under us, and we don't even want to have to teach them how to have to fight against these type of things. If it's necessary, we will do so. Do we want to do it? No, because we're thinking that we can get to a place in this world where things are better. Things have changed, and we don't have to worry about this mess no more. But unfortunately, we do. And what I am saying is heed the warning. The people are fed up, and they're not going to continue to take it sitting down. And I think you better approach with care. What do you think about this, Imani? What are your thoughts and feelings? Not just on what they're talking about, but even your own personal experience.
Well, the thing that struck me was that they've got to have a lot of thought and a lot of advice for their young son to go to a shop. And people are probably wondering why he was, you know, so worried about his son going into a shop. I don't know if you guys remember, we focused on a case a few weeks ago of Cyrus Cormac Belton. This was the 14-year-old from Columbia, South Carolina, who was unalived when he was accused of stealing water bottles. If you remember, this guy, Rick Chow, was found not guilty when he and his son chased Cyrus down the road and unalived him. That's the reason why Chance is saying that when his son was going to the shop, he was worried. I mean, imagine that you've got to give your son instructions about put your shirt on, make sure you show your money, make sure you do this. It is for this reason. This case, we focused on this, we featured this a few weeks ago. That is why they were worried about their son going to a shop. I mean, imagine that, being worried about your son going to a shop to buy sweets or whatever he was going to buy. And that is the impact of what is going on. That's what he was talking about. That's why he was worried. People might think, well, that's a bit ridiculous. Run into the shop, because your son's in there. No, a 14-year-old has just been unalived by a shopkeeper. That's the reason why he was worried when his son was going into the shop. And that is very, very sad and very scary. And it's the pain of these recent tragedies that which is why how communities, individuals, parents are trying to move forward without losing hope. It's the collective grief that is making people react in these ways. And people may think it's an overreaction. It's not an overreaction. Some of us, myself included, like I said when I talked before, when we kiss our children goodbye, we just hope they come back at the end of the day. We tell them that if you're in a car with your friends and you get stopped by the police, put your hands on the dashboard. Don't reach for your phone. Don't try and do anything. Don't make any sudden moves. You need to know how how to deal with the police. I mean, imagine this, that these are the lessons that you're having to teach your son. And, you know, even a simple thing like going to the supermarket. I was laughing the other day because I always tell the security guard that you're like my personal security. You're following me around the shop because I still get followed around shops when I go into the shop. I said, and whilst you've been following me around the shop, three C-rack heads have rushed out with about a week's shopping. So you're busy following me, and the people that you're supposed to be following are actually having a good time. And he said, "Why didn't you tell me?" I said, "Because you were too busy following me, as you see me in here every day, that I thought it was funny that you didn't notice that in the midst of summer, three people have come in here with very long coats. But hey, have at it." That's part and parcel of what I live. That's part and parcel of what my son lives. That I have to tell him how to react to a stop and search, even if he's in a car and he hasn't done anything. These are things that we live through every day. But I also say you don't have to lose hope. And this is what they're emphasizing, that we need to unify. We need to work together. We need to protect everybody's mental and emotional well-being. It's not a sign of weakness, Tabitha says. You got to support each other. But you can't support one another if you're neglecting your own healing. So you got to create spaces for reflection, and communities do become stronger when they support one another through these difficult times. And there is a lot of unity out there, and there are a lot of allies, and there are a lot of people. I work with a lot of people that understand the plight of young people and what's going on out there, and they're not going to destroy us. It's certain elements that don't want unity, and those are the ones that we need to kick out of the collective, because they're never ever going to bring positivity in. And this is why, even on this platform, we don't have to grace them with our presence. If what they want is fighting and conflict, we're not here for that. We're here for solutions. Everybody's here for solutions. And I'm talking about worldwide. I'm talking about in your own community. I'm talking about in your own church. I'm talking about with your own neighbors. I'm talking about looking out for the young people that you see. If you see a young person in problems, that you need to help them if you can, because that could be your child. And that is the way I deal with it in life. When I see these things happening, even if I walk into a shop and I see young people being mistreated, I treat them and I talk as though that is my own child. I wouldn't want that to happen to my own child. But we can't allow fear to become our defining force. We've got to acknowledge the genuine concerns. We have to, unfortunately, educate the young people in what they are facing very early on in life, even when they go to school, even when they, when they go to school, when they go out on their own. But, you know, we've got to understand that if we don't work together, they win. They win if we don't unify. They will win. These billionaires are loving all this because whilst we're busy fighting one another and blaming one another for everything and saying, oh, the reason why the kids are dying is because they're all killing each other, they win because that's what they want. Because whilst you let the poorer of us or the less well off of us fight, they can pick your pockets and steal your money and steal everything and steal your healthcare and everything while we sit down and fight one another. If we don't unify, they win. They will always win. So that's why this section is really about being resilient, being unified. Stop letting them show us the shiny objects so that we concentrate on the BS that they want us to. Concentrate on, unifying with the people you can and working together and helping people and mentoring some of these young people and explaining to them, it's not straightforward for you, unfortunately. So we need to educate you about when you interact with the police, when you're in a situation, what you should do, your emergency numbers. You've got to tell people, what they need to do. If they're in a shop and they're in a problem, make a phone call. Don't run away, because it could not end well. That is what I've taken from this section. It's very sad, but, RIP to Cyrus Carmack Belton. Remember, that was the 14-year-old boy who went to the shop and didn't return home. But there is hope if we unify, if we unite, and if we help one another, regardless of what our background is and where we're from. And if we educate and inform people of what's going on. And that's why we bring these cases forward. It might be sad and it might be triggering, but we have to tell you what's going on, what's really happening out there.
I agree with everything you said, Imani, and you said it so very well. And we're just about at the end of this live right here. We only got just a few short minutes left. I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick song break, real quick, y'all. I just gotta take my snack real quick, and I will be right back. And then after that, we will wrap up the rest of the conversation, which is equally as deep as the entire thing has been. And we will give some of our final thoughts and opinions on that in just a moment. So y'all, bear with me for just a sec. Let me put this song on, and I'll be right back.
Yeah. Ain't no more quiet now. Nah. Tell them run that back. I said, hands up, head high, 10 toes. They monetize pain while the truth get froze. Big talks online, but they hearts stay cold. Still fighting for rights that was promised long ago. Ooh. We ain't your silence. Nah. We ain't your fear. Hey. Every time they shut a door, we appear. From the city to the globe, here the people get loud. You can bury one voice, but you can't stop the crowd. Yeah. I'm from the side where the pressure make diamonds, where mothers pray hard cause the system stay violent. Kids learn trauma before they learn signs. Politicians campaign while communities dying. Look, everybody tweeting, everybody streaming, everybody woke till the camera stop beaming. Truth don't trend when the money intervening. That's why the real ones exhausted and screaming. Big change, fake morals, podium capping. Whole lot of hashtags, ain't nobody action. Trying to sell the vision with celebrity distractions. Meanwhile, rights disappear through strategic reactions. Close schools, close polls, close cases. Still see hate written all on their faces. History repeating, just switching the phrases. Different decades, same games, new stages. And they wonder why the people don't trust. Every headline feel dangerous to us. Every promise turned dust, but we still rise up, 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 rise up. Hands up, head high, 10 toes. They monetize long ago. Hey, we ain't your silence. We ain't your fear. Every time they shut a door, we appear. From the city to the globe, here the people get loud. You could bury one voice, but you can't stop the crowd. Yeah, now everybody playing God with the algorithms, programming narratives and calling it the system. Who decides truth? Who decides wisdom? If the future artificial, who protect the children? Too much rage in the timeline scrolling. Young minds vulnerable, anger overloading. Everybody radical when the fear keep growing and the world stay tense while the missiles stay loaded overseas. War drums, contracts get signed. Oil power, money always hide behind pride. More folks pay while the billionaires glide. And the news turn trauma into primetime vibes. Talk peace with a smirk while the stocks go up. Tell the working class, hold on, but enough is enough. People tired, people broke, people fed up. Still they call us angry every time we stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Listen, it's bigger than left or right, bigger than red or blue. People just wanna live, people just wanna breathe, people just wanna matter. But every generation gotta drag justice uphill, while somebody profits off the chaos. That's the part they don't say out loud. Hands up, head high, 10 toes. True hit harder when the beat line goes. Can't sell fear to a soul that knows. Power to the people, let the whole world know. We ain't your silence, we ain't your shame. If the people wake up, everything changed. From the city to the globe, hear the whole crowd roar. You can't dim light when the spirit want war. Rise up, even when they try to divide us. Rise up, even when the pressure find us. Yeah. Still here, still loud, still fighting.
All right, thank y'all so much for rocking with me that quick little song break, y'all. I just had to grab JJ a little snack shop. But we about to get into the rest of the video. It's not that much left, so we're pushing towards the tail end of the live, y'all. But let's go ahead and hear a little bit more from Tabitha and Chance, and get y'all up out of here. Thanks for spending some time with us here on your Sunday. Did you have a few things you wanted to add, Imani, before we get back into the video, or you want to just jump right in?
No, we can just jump right in.
All right, girl. Let's get back into it. We'll meet y'all over in the chat.
I think we need to end this because I had to refrain from cussing about 10 times. Like, for real.
It's just again, weight.
Mm-hmm.
The weight is heavy, y'all. So in your classes, in your offices, in your homes, in your workspaces,
in your gyms,
in your stores,
in your churches, in your
restaurants,
mm-hmm.
in your everywhere you go. May the weight that you carry not break you. May your light keep you from stepping into the darkness. May you be able to stay safe in this world.
We did a good job.
We tried our best.
We tried. They asked us.
Now,
Los, we did all right.
But Los always want to say something after the camera be off, and it be something good.
Oh, he got a question.
Yeah. So Los, before we go,
anything
you want us to, anything you had a question or a comment.
And before you do that,
don't
know your brother.
No, don't put no more weight on Los. Don't put no weight on Los.
No, I don't. It's this topic, this conversation is one I don't have a question. I think I have more restraint because I feel like there's a level of wanting to go deeper into the waters and say some things very emphatically that may not need to be said.
Mm-hmm. We good.
But you know what? That just made me think about something that.
All right, y'all, pause 1 second because I want y'all to hear this last heart loud and clear. And after we hear this part, I am going to give my, humble and from the heart opinion of listening to this and really like letting it download in my mind, in my spirit, because it is something that I have been guilty of doing to someone or multiple people. And I like the way they break this down. Y'all listen to it and let me know if you catch what it is. Let's get back into it, y'all. I just wanted to let you know that.
Let's just say it for us, specifically as Black folk, baby, we're gonna have to be together in this. Like, we gotta understand, no matter whether you think you Black or you're African American or you a
Ninja.
We all are Black folk.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how you think you might identify based on how much money you got or your degrees or your profession.
The acceptance
you feel. There was a time where none of that mattered. Right? So the blessing is your ancestors, all of our ancestors, carried a weight so that you could actually have the audacity to feel different, but you still Black.
Mm-hmm.
It can still be you or your child. No matter what your lived experience may be. And listen, we've all had some great lived experiences. And I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that all white people are bad, all Hispanic, like Italian, like I'm saying, and we know who we're talking about, racist people.
And when I feel how I feel, my feelings are all over the place with this. I could say something that I could say something that don't need to be said to the masses, that just may need to be said in our household. Every space does not belong to my feelings, in other words. So just be careful. Don't go on there trash talking these people and you should do this because they make good music, or because they good actors, or because whatever,
because they're famous.
Because they're famous. You give these people grace. You can't just be out here because they can reach 10 million people. Just because they can reach 10 million people don't mean that they're equipped to do it in the fashion that you want, because they could put out the wrong thing. And
but also
now you got to hit them with the
this has been a heavy conversation, but it ain't no heavier than living day to day.
Mm-hmm.
This is our truth. And I hope that this can touch someone. I hope to my white brothers and sisters out there and all other, people who are non-Black, our allies, we appreciate y'all. Have this conversation with your people. Let them know there's a different weight.
And some of the different mindsets of, what they may be thinking or feeling about a topic, based off of those two things. I think we need that balance, right? We need to hear from the men. We need to hear from the women. And out here, we're going to fight it ourselves. We're very capable of doing that. We've been doing it for a long period of time. And so, we can do it. But if you want to help join in, child, at this moment is to speak up or anything, that we bring to the surface. It give you a little bit something different, that you can tap into. You tired of all the, riffraff. So that's about it. Like, that's the only reason, like, why I've chosen to go this way. It's too easy. I could be doing what everybody else does. It's too easy. Like, yeah, you can grow, you can get numbers. It'll happen very quickly if you do all the same things. But I just choose to be the rebel all of the time. And I choose to go the opposite way because I want to show the lights. I don't want to show all of the darkness and the chaos. But anyway, what did you think, Imani, about that last portion of the interview and the overall interview? And then we can go ahead and wrap this up. I have a few final thoughts I'm going to do, but I want you to get your thoughts in first.
Right. There was an interesting thing that Tabitha said. She emphasized the importance of unity, not only with our allies, but within the Black community. And one important thing that she said is regardless of your background, your profession, your income, or your personal identity, racism does not make those distinctions, and the shared experience create a common responsibility to support one another. So it doesn't matter if you work in a bank, it doesn't matter if you're a cleaner. When you're Black, that's what they see first and foremost. They don't see your income. They don't see your bank account. They just see you're Black. And people need to remember that and not get on their what she was really saying is don't get on your high horse and think because you're earning X amount of thousands that it's not going to impact you. Because what happens when the boy goes into the shop, they don't say, well, his daddy earns 100,000, so he's not going to steal. They don't care. And that's what she was reminding people of. And I thought that was a very key thing. Um, and also, she said, we got to distinguish between criticizing racism and condemning entire groups of people. It's with individuals that devalue the Black humanity that there is the problem. They are the problem. So, we appreciate all the allies, and there are some allies who don't I mean, there are a lot of allies that don't have the lived experience, but there are some allies who are educated and understand what is going on because they have been around it, they teach it, and they study it. So let's not dismiss everybody. But there are also people who talk about these things and they know nothing about it. And they focus on the minutiae that's going on rather than the bigger picture, rather than the systemic racism, rather than the problems that we have with institutions. Those are the people who are causing a lot of the division and a lot of the chaos because they're getting people to focus on very small things when there's a bigger picture out here. When you have a 14-year-old that's unalive that goes to buy a bottle of water, that's a problem. Some of this other stuff, some of this name calling, and people whether they have um, adopted the word ninja or not, that's not the issue. There are bigger issues for people to focus on, and so let's not get distracted by people who are here to divide and conquer, and they are in our own race and outside our race. It's not just outsiders that are doing this; they're getting help from people who are co-conspirators in this mess. But there's another thing that Chance says, and he says, don't pressure, but we should not pressure people to or influencers to speak on every tragedy simply because they got a large platform. Because some of them are not equipped to talk about these things. And if any of you have ever studied any Malcolm X, he talks about us creating leaders who are not equipped to speak on the things that they do. And there are some people with these big platforms who speak on things they shouldn't be speaking on because they have no knowledge and they don't experience the hardships of some of the people, some of the people that are having these problems. And one of the people I would say is, Nicki Minaj talking about voting when she's not even a registered voter. Those are the people I have issues with, and other people from outside the race that are talking ish when they don't know what the hell is going on and they don't know about the lived experience, but they're coming here virtue signaling and speaking about things they have no understanding of. Yeah, that was one of the things that I took from that. And people should avoid adding unnecessary burdens to others. You know, everybody carries unseen struggles and they've got their own struggles. So don't add additional weight to people, on who don't truly understand it. And some of you need to shut the F up and stop talking about things that you know nothing about. And you're only here to encourage the chaos and division and see the fighting and for your entertainment. and for you and to make money out of it, you know. But it did conclude on a hopeful note. And despite discussing the pain and the emotional exhaustion, Tabitha and Chance express that they hope that future generations may one day live in a society where people get recognized first for their shared humanity. And that was a very, very key statement, and not be judged by their race. So, and they also confirmed that they're choosing to love, they're choosing peace, and they're choosing community. And that's all community, all humanity. And they still acknowledge there's ongoing problems, but we hope that one day these things are resolved. And what like to say about the whole interview, it's about, understanding that there are a lot of people, there are reasons why people are reacting to this. They talked about parenthood, raising Black children. I know this struggle, and I'm in another country, and I know the things that I've had to teach my son that I never thought that I would have to teach him. But we all have to look out for one another. And that's why I say, people need to go into these communities and, instead of just talking it, just do some of the work, be involved in the community actively, working, helping, seeing what you can do. We have breakfast clubs, homework clubs for people that are struggling with childcare. We teach history, to young children, teach them about where they come from and to be proud of themselves. Some of these schools and some of these funds are there and they're available. People just don't advertise it. And I know that it is a struggle at the moment and the funds are not always there. But we've set up little pockets in community, in communities where, people can come and discuss. We have things for the elderly where they play dominoes, where we have a lunch meeting once a week. We've got to bring back the community unity, and it doesn't matter about your race, because your community is who you can depend on sometimes when things are bad. And that doesn't mean that you can depend on financially, but emotional support, help where you can. Faith is another pillar of the discussion. And we haven't got all the answers, but faith does, if you have it. And I'm not saying that you need to have it, because we all come from different walks of life. It provides strength when circumstances can't be understood. you know just try and look out for one another, look out for your neighbor. This is the running thing that we've been talking about. I don't expect everybody to understand what I go through, but I certainly don't expect to be criticized for how I react when I don't like how things are expressed to me. And that goes for people on this platform and in my real life. I just say, just support people, look out for your neighbor, look out for your friends, call that person that you haven't spoken to, help where you can. And, if you are around one of these families who are going through, this turbulent time, try and do a little something, even making some food for them. It's a help, because there's a lot going on at the moment, and we just got to pull together and try and unify wherever we can. And even on this platform, where we can unify, where we see a shared common goals, let's collaborate, collaborate and talk about things that where we've all got shared interests. It doesn't have to be a fight every day. you know there's baddies if you want to watch baddies. We don't need middle-aged or old-aged or young-aged baddies on here. There's enough of that on the Zeus network. We can just do things a little bit different. I'm not saying that that doesn't have its place, but it's not the only thing that we're all about. And that's really what I wanted to say.
That was excellent, Imani. I love when you speak so eloquently and you point out all of, basically the importance of each talking point that we heard here today. And, I think a lot of people can basically have something to say when it comes to their own shared experience, whether they're here in, America, the United States, or in any other country around the world when it comes to being a black or brown person and their experiences that they have had, not just as young ones growing up, what they've seen their parents having and what they now are going on to see their children have to have. So it seems the cycle continues to repeat itself, right? And so, we basically are just trying to shine a light on that. Excuse me, y'all. Trying to shine a light on that. Okay. When we talk about that, in a lot of the different lives that we do here, whether it's the Black history, and even it ties into some political things that we cover here as well. But I wanted to share that conversation with you guys today because it was powerful. And like I said, I love the fact that it was a dynamic where you are hearing from a Black man and a Black woman. They happen to be spouses and, have Black children that are going out in this world together that, are going to be having to deal with some of these things, and they have to prepare them in, the proper way, just as many of us do, right? They also happen to be public figures, right? That have a pressure on them to talk about these topics, and these things as they come up and give their point of view. And a lot of people really, appreciate authenticity, right? So with them even doing that live, because they were requested to talk about that topic, they wanted to come to their live and that video with as much authenticity as they possibly could provide. And so they pulled from the depths of their soul and their hearts and their shared experiences and lived experiences around the topic, right? But also tying into the point that we have to understand it may not be us, it may not be our children right now, right? We may not be the ones experiencing these things, but when we see our other brothers and sisters and people in general experiencing things like this and tragedies like this, we have to have a level of understanding and empathy. And I believe the way we approach it, a lot that has to do with that is based off of our experiences. We will have a deeper level of empathy and understanding and outrage and emotion when it comes to these type of situations because we've seen them, we've lived them, we've been through them, right? And a lot of people who may not have been, then maybe they won't have the same response, right? And so that's why I said, basically in the end there, what she said is, because someone has 100,000 subscribers or they have a big reach on their platform to be able to talk about these topics and bring awareness to it, because they have a large platform, it may not be an experience they know anything about, and they may not be able to deliver it with the right type of delivery that's necessary, right? Because it may not be their history, it may not be their experience, they may not know anything about it and have nothing to add to it in a proper way to deliver it to where the people are feeling like the message is really truthfully getting across. And I just think overall it was a lovely conversation, y'all. I do have a few final thoughts I'm going to leave with y'all before we get into a little song bop, per usual, as we end out. The dogs are fighting one another, so child, I don't know what they got going on. Imani, did you have a few things to add before I do my closing message?
Yeah. As this was a great interview. Thank you for inviting me to do this. I'm glad I was here. Um, the conversation with Tabitha and Chance reminded us that life isn't measured by how many challenges we face and by how we choose to respond to them. They really spoke honestly about fear and grief, about raising children, and about carrying burdens that many people never see. But they also reminded us in the darkest moments, we still have a choice. We can choose fear or we can choose faith. We can choose bitterness or we can choose healing. We can choose division or we can choose community. And one of the most powerful messages from tonight is joy is an act of courage. Choosing to laugh, choosing to love, to hope, and keep believing in tomorrow does not mean we ignore pain. It means we refuse to let pain have the final word. Every generation has faced challenges that seemed impossible to overcome, but somehow through faith, determination, and support of the family and community, people keep moving forward. They planted seeds whose shade they would never sit under so that future generations could live better life. And now it's our turn. Be present with your family. Tell the people that you love them. Check on your friends. Encourage a young person. Be kind to a stranger. And never underestimate how one conversation, one act of kindness, or one moment of compassion can change someone's life. As Dr. Martin Luther King once said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So let's be the light. Let us be the people who build bridges instead of barriers. Let us choose understanding over assumption, compassion over condemnation, and hope over hopelessness. And remember this, your greatest legacy will never be measured by the money you made or the titles you hold. It will be measured by the lives you've touched, the love you've shared, and the differences that we make while we're here. Thanks for letting me share this live, Golden, and the chat, and anybody that's in the bushes. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, hold your loved ones a little closer, protect your peace, keep your face, and never stop believing that together, through kindness, courage, and community, we can help build a better future for our children. And till next time, as usual, stay blessed. We are too blessed to be stressed. Love you all, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Imani. That was beautiful. I love it. And thanks for popping in because I know you was taking, some little time off or whatnot today, but you wanted to pop in for this conversation. So I appreciate you for coming. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, y'all. Thank you everybody who came to listen, whether you joined in the chat or maybe you was just laying back in the cut and just listening, child. We appreciate that as well. We can feel your presence. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all some final words here that I wrote down. Okay. So as we wrap up this conversation today, I want to leave y'all with this message of real truth, love, and strength. We cannot talk about where we are without acknowledging the deep generational Black pain and ongoing injustice that we are forced to navigate every single day. The exhaustion of having to constantly fight for basic humanity, the heartbreak of watching our names become hashtags when we're no longer here, and the quiet fear every Black parent carries when their children step out of the door. That pain is real, it is heavy, and it is valid. Systemic injustice isn't just something that is in history books, it is a daily reality that tests our spirit, our patience, and our peace. And let's just keep it real for a second. The pain doesn't just come from the outside, y'all. Sometimes the hardest pills to swallow is when it comes from our own people. We see those within our own race who sell out, turn a blind eye, or act like they don't care because they think that their status, their money, or their position makes them immune. But the truth is, nobody is immune. Distance from the struggle doesn't mean protection from the reality. And turning your back on your own people will never buy true acceptance. And to those on the outside who claim to stand with us, true allyship isn't just standing by when it's convenient. or performing for our audience. It's walking with us through the fire, calling out the injustice when we even aren't in the room, doing the actual work, amplifying our voices, and coming from a place of genuine sincerity. Because we know authenticity when we see it. We can spot real support from a mile away. And better than anyone, we know the difference between someone showing up for real or someone just putting on a front. Even through the tears, the frustration, and the grief, never forget the power, beauty, and resilience that lives within us. Our history is not just about struggle, it is about triumph, it is about joy, and it is about the unbreakable bonds of our community. So, y'all, like we always say, keep protecting your peace, keep pouring into ones who genuinely pour into you. Let's continue to build with love, stand firm in truth, and hold space for each other every single day. Thank y'all so much for being here with us this evening. We love you all. We hope you stay blessed, and we will see y'all in the next live. Imani, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we end it with a boppity bop bop bop?
No, I've got nothing else to add. Just see you next time, guys.
All right, girl, let's go ahead and end this off. Shout out to everyone who came in to spend some time with us. We had Daisy that was here. Mama War is always in the background. Split came through. We also had Lacey that came through. Thank you so much for that, Lacey. And let me see, Happy Life was here earlier. So, hey, Happy Life. Thank you so much for coming through. Carlos was up in here. What up, boo? So, yeah, thank you all for stopping by and listening to the live. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the message was something that is going to fill your soul, give you a little bit more of an understanding for all of us, right? So we can understand each other a lot better. These are the struggles that we live through. These are the things that we fight through. And so excuse us sometimes if we're a little angry and on edge. Child, it be a lot. But anyway, that's all I got. Let's go ahead and end it with a few bops, and we will talk to y'all on the next live. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Golden, Imani, and Mama Warrior is out, y'all. Bye.
Feeling like got people forgetting the folks of you. That part. Every laugh ain't harmless. Every post ain't just jokes. Some people smiling online, crying in real life. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Why you tearing people down for fun? Why? You don't know what they carry when the camera done. Broken souls throw stones, then hide they hands. Cowards in comment sections playing God again. Karma don't miss. And healing's still possible too. So either spread love or watch life humble you. Yeah. YouTube streets messy, everybody got a target. Creators throwing dirt like hate became a market. Mocking people daily, that spirit look haunted. Tell me who raised y'all, this behavior garbage. Laughing at depression, exposing folks' trauma. Then act shocked when tragedy follow behind you. The evil energy, boomerang proper. Come on, pull up silent like a midnight robber. And honestly, do you watch my live? I talk truth, pain, growth, tears, real vibes. Not everybody built for the games online. Some folks want insult from losing their mind. That's fake, no cap. Y'all addicted to humiliation. Every live stream feel like public execution. Views over souls, cloud over humans. Then wonder why the whole world mentally ruined. Somebody mama crying at night. Somebody daughter hurt inside. Somebody praying not to give up while bullets screenshot painful life. Shame on you, shame. You need healing too. Only damaged people wake up daily, trying to damage others too. Enough is enough. Why you tearing people down for fun? Tearing them down. You don't know what they fighting when the live stream killers acting tough online. Whole time spiritually broken inside. Karma don't miss, no. Karma don't skip souls either. Every hateful seed gon' meet the reaper. So to the hurt and bullied people, listen close. You matter more than these demons online. These chicks bitter, these dudes weird. Obsessed every day, like why you still here? Refreshing my page while pretending you don't care. Whole personality built off hate and fear. Talk slick online, real life timid. Broken inside, everybody can't feel it. Projecting they wounds while the comments all cheering. That ain't straight, baby, that sickness concealed. And I said what I said. Yeah, some of these creators need therapy bad. Not another live stream drag. Not another fake outrage cash grab scam. Y'all bully for a living. That's sad. Spirit look bankrupt, dusty and mad. And the people encouraging it just is trash. Laugh now. Karma got a long memory past. Lord, cover the wounded. Cover the lonely heart. Cover the lonely heart. Cover the people crying silently in dark rooms. Teach us compassion again. Teach this world mercy again. Because words cut deep. So deep. And some people never recover. To everybody bullied online, you are not weak because you hurt. You are not crazy because you feel pain. And don't let these empty souls convince you your life got no value. The loudest bullies usually fighting demons they never healed from. That ain't an excuse, but it's the truth. And to the bullies, get help, seriously. This obsession with tearing strangers apart every day, that ain't normal. Enough is enough. We need love more than ever now. More than ever. Too many souls out here barely hanging on somehow. No more glorifying pain for view. No more clowning her forever new. No more mob attacks for entertainment. That darkness got consequences too. Karma don't miss. Karma don't miss. And healing still possible too. So either spread love or watch life humble you. Enough is enough. Spread love before it's too late. Yeah, before it's too late. They handed us the script, but we don't gotta read it no more. Yeah. Same old story, different page. Same old ink on a different stage. Got my own people on the corner, pushing me closer to the edge with rage. Willie Lynch probably laughing in his grave. Seeing centuries later, we still enslaved. House divided, envy contagious. The blueprint still working. Ain't that outrageous? Yeah. Stack the odds, casino game. Bet against ourselves just to chase some fame. Another brother falls, everybody crying. Last week behind closed doors, they was quietly plotting, trying to dim his light, cause his future too bright. Crabs in the bucket pulling down every flight. Generational wounds pass hand to hand, fighting each other instead of the man with the plan. Iron chains became gold links. Different metal, same prison when nobody thinks. Freedom ain't jewelry, freedom is soul. Can't buy liberation if your spirit been sold. We just echoes in the barrel, spinning circles every day. History whispers softly, but we keep looking away. They handed us the script, now we acting every part. Time to break the cycle, time to heal the broken heart. This ain't the trend they march for. This ain't the future they could see. This whole thing was a setup. It's time we set ourselves free. Yeah. Oh. trap ain't poverty. The trap is division. The chains ain't visible. They're built from our decisions. We carry anger in our chest. Years of trauma, years of stress. And pass it to our own bloodline. Instead of putting evil to rest, love became weakness. Unity became strange. Clout became currency. Everybody chained. Round and round we go. History keeps repeating. 'Cause nobody let it go. But tonight we change the pole. We build every hope. This ain't the life they believe. The chains only live if we choose not to leave. Let the echoes disappear. Let the barrel finally break. Leave the hate where it belongs. For our children's sake. No more jealousy. No more self-destruction. No more borrowed hatred. It's unity or it's nothing. We free. We free. Yeah. This ain't about noise. It's about patterns, power, privilege, and what happens when it gets challenged. Mama warrior, golden queen, we calling it out as it is. No filter. White knuckle grip when you don't get your way. Dial tone turning into threats on display. Smile in public, but behind that screen, you weaponize systems like you part of the machine. It's I want the manager over nothing at all. It's police in the presence just to make somebody fall. It's rules for the other, but exceptions for self. Why you rewrite reality to protect your wealth? Call it what it is, entitlement trained. Generations built on what was never explained. So when the mirror cracks and the comfort gets shook, you flip the whole script, but you hate how it looks. Say it loud. We see it in the glare, in the tone, in the stare. When fairness turns to fear, 'cause somebody else there. Not asking for trouble, just asking for right. But privilege don't like when the mirror gets bright. Expose it. No more silence. No more silence. Expose it. No more silence. It's school hard cars when a child gets profiled. His state looks suspicious, said with a smile. His neighborhood shifting when the leases go high, while the same old systems just rationalize. If the store clerk watch like they already sold, it's assumptions writing stories you were never told. It's bias in moments that seem small on the surface, but stacked over time, it defines the purpose. And online is louder, the mask falls off. Same behavior, just the volume gets tossed. Typing out judgment from a cushioned place, while others carry consequences they never escape. That's facts, check it. From traffic, stop the courtroom bias. From policy lines that quietly deny us. From coded language wrapped in polite disguise to the truth that survives when the system lies. But we don't fall, we don't break, we don't vanish. We document everything damaged by damage. From pain and the pressure in the flame, to the silence itself can no longer stay tame. So when you hear that voice cutting through the noise, it's not anger alone, it's reclaimed choice. It's truth that's been buried too long underground. Now it rises in rhythm and it won't back down. Rise up. No more silence. No more silence. comfort. They don't know her like I do. Nah. Golden. She moved through the city with her hair held high. Pretty brown skin with a storm inside. Everybody see the glow, they don't know the pressure. Smile so warm, but her heart no weather. Late nights riding while the skyline blur. Trying not to cry when the memories occurred. Had to learn fast, everybody ain't loyal. Some people love you long as they control you. Now she move careful, energy expensive. Too many fake vibes hiding in the friendship. Used to give love with her hands wide open. Now every scar got the whole vibe frozen. They don't know her like I. No, they don't know her like I. She goes by golden. Soft voice, deep soul, hope or glowing. She goes by golden. City lights dancing with her heart stay open. Long dark roads but she still stay focused. Everybody watching but they don't really know. She goes by golden. Too much grace with the games they throwing. Real love, rare soul spirits they got it. Beautiful soul but the pain left marks in it. Mirror tell the truth when the lights go dim. All the things she carry weight heavy within. She survived nights she don't even speak on. Still finding peace while the whole world ain't wrong. Funny how the love disappear when you're healing. Funny how the fate come around when you win. Now she trusts God more than people intend. Just cause smiles hot and being hidden in the big. She's still soft-hearted but she way less naive. Can't keep pouring love where there's nothing received. Still dancing slow through the hurt and confusion. Trying not to lose herself chasing illusions. She survived the fire. Still glowing through the smoke. Still sad. Still dangerous. Still chosen. She goes by golden. Snow so deep made the whole room notice. Heavy lies couldn't break what was chosen. Still standing tall while the whole world folding. She goes by golden. Heartbreak turned to pens-in-the-matic. Now the tears got rhythm when she's singing. And they still don't know her like that. They still don't know her like that. Spend too much time looking for love in strangers. Spend too much time. Spend too much time letting outside voices shake the mirror. But at the end of the night, when the lights fade, when the city cried, when the tears dried, we still got